Gareth Southgate needs to go. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yep, that's basically all the video. End the video now. That's all I really need to say on this particular issue. Gareth Southgate needs to go now. He needs to leave. He needs to be fired. Whatever, because this England side is incredible to me. On paper, it looks incredible. A team oozing and a team just full to the brim of talent, whether it be defensively or offensively. A very good balance, in my opinion, which may seemingly tilt the scales in a more offensive fashion, but this manager isn't going to release the shackles anytime soon. This manager is not going to lay off the restrictions that he puts on his team whatsoever right now, and it's going to hinder England. It's going to hinder England going forward in future campaigns. And with obviously the Euros coming up at the end of the season in the summer of 2024, it's obviously seen as a big opportunity and maybe Southgate's last opportunity to win a major tournament as an England manager. And I just fear that it's going to be another case of this England side missing out because they have the wrong manager in charge. We're going to be talking about Gareth Southgate. We're going to be talking about this England side and everything else in between. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you, please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things always and forever be greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comments section as well. Would love to hear from you all down there. Any thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it in regards to England and Gareth Southgate. I'm sure we'll all make interesting, great reading, so do get involved down there. But without further ado, let's get on with talking about Gareth Southgate. Let's get on with talking about the international break that has been and gone. Look, this international break, thank God it's over. It feels like it's been an eternity of since we were last in club football mode, and we've obviously had to be subject to Southgate ball for the last couple of weeks. And I've been saying since the end of the World Cup in 2018, yes, 6 years on, or almost 6 years on, it will be when obviously the European Championships roll around in the summer, that this guy is not the right guy for England. When I look at this side, I see a team full of incredible talent. Defensively, they're solid enough. For an international level, they are solid enough. Still not great by any stretch of the imagination. John Stones, our best defender. But I still think there are some good opportunities in there for the likes of Fikao Tomori. I still think there are some good opportunities for other centre-backs as well. You know, defensively, you can maybe look at certain players, certain holes in there. You know, Harry Maguire, is he really good enough? Is the left-back situation as strong as what it should be? The right-back situation, we're covered, assuming that Reece James can stay fit for longer than a couple of games, and maybe moving Trent Alexander-Arnold into more of a midfield position is the way to go forward with this England side. But he leaves the handbrake on so much when it comes to the team's offensive ability and potential. When you look at the potential lineup of this England side, and you look at the players that he has, you look at a Declan Rice who can provide not only a threat going forward or a threat from set pieces, but he provides that balance in midfield to be that defensive destroyer, as well as being somewhat of a creative influence, an engine in there, someone who can keep things ticking over and control that midfield. But then you look further afield. You can, like I say, you can move Trent into midfield. You can have Jude Bellingham in there. You've got the creativity of a James Maddison when he comes back from injury. You've got Bukayo Saka on the right. You can have Phil Foden on the left. You can bring Raheem Sterling back into the fold on that left-hand side. If you can find Marcus Rashford to be back in good form again, he can be electric and dangerous on his day. You've then, of course, got the likes of Ollie Watkins up front that you can potentially play if Harry Kane isn't firing on all cylinders. And there's many more options that you can have going forward. Tons of attacking talent, tons of interesting combinations and interesting players that you can bring into the England squad to keep opponents guessing. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. He is too defensive. He is too cautious. He is not the right fit in terms of a tactical manager for this England side. I will praise him. When he first started after that horrific 2016 European Championship, where England were at that time, coming off the back of the whole Sam Allardyce thing, coming off the back of the Euro 2016 horrific European Championships at that time, I will praise him for the work that he did with this England side to build them back up. In terms of obviously hiring a guy that has been at the lowest of the lowest moments that you could possibly find in an international shirt or even in any sort of footballing shirt, this guy was the right choice in terms of being a guy to be in the background. He's worked with the England squad before and obviously knows some of the players, worked with some of the players, obviously has the experience of playing in an England shirt, has the experience of being in that kind of competitive style, built up this England side and made them united. This is the first England side I have seen in my lifetime that has seemed more united and unified than ever. Previously, you would always have seemingly factions within the England camp. Players of certain teams being rivals, seemingly choosing club over country. This one didn't seem to matter. This one seemed to be united. This one seemed to be singing off the same hymn sheet, more or less. I praise him for that unity. I praise him for what he has done with the squad overall. I praise him for getting to getting us far in international tournaments, getting us to semi-finals of the World Cup in 2018. I praise him for that. I even somewhat praise him for getting to the final of the European Championships. Never would I thought I would have seen an England side get as far as what they did, but he managed to get them there. I don't necessarily agree with the way that he played or how he got there, but I praise him for getting that far where other managers in previous England eras, despite having very good teams, couldn't even get us past even more simpler of tasks. I praise him for getting us over the mental block of winning penalty shootouts on, I believe, a couple of occasions. I praise him for that. But there is a point. And there is a point where after what's going to be 6 years, I believe, 6 or 7 years, 6 now, 7 next year, of being England manager, with the team that you've had, with the way that you've started off strong, reached your peak, it seems, by getting to a final of a major tournament, and then seemingly died down, you need to move on. And for me, like I said before, Southgate needed to move on after the 2018 World Cup because I saw flaws within what he was trying to do. I praised him at the time for getting us to that point. I praised him for bringing not just the squad together, but the country as well, because Jesus Christ, being around the country at that time was incredible. The unity that summer in particular in 2018 brought. Fans going absolutely wild. Fans being together. Fans celebrating what England were doing in Russia in the 2018 World Cup was absolutely incredible to watch for our very eyes. And it was again when obviously they got to the final of the Euros 3 years later. I lost track of time then. 3 years later. Absolutely incredible. Not going to knock him for that. But his way of playing, coupled with his favouritism towards the tried and tested players of this England side, is not going to progress England any further than what they already have achieved. It's really not. The fact of the matter is that this past international break has sort of symbolised my issues with Gareth Southgate from 2018, where we're against favourable opponents. but he doesn't change his style of play. He still plays this weird, sort of cautious, boring snooze fest football, which is not fitting to an England side who, as I said at the top of the video, has players that offensively are full of flair, creativity, speed, pace, power, strength. Everything that makes football exciting to watch is what this England side possesses. And it's just not being brought to the forefront because the manager still has the handbrake on. And it goes to what I say, you can have the team. You can have the team to win you any international tournament or any tournament of any nature on paper. If you've not got the correct orchestrator to conduct that orchestra to perform and play the right notes at the right time and play the music together, you will fail. And that is ultimately what I believe will happen to England. He could fluke it. He could again fluke it. He could get a more favourable run to the final of the Euros. And he could along the way see the favourites, like the likes of your Spains and your Frances, get knocked out by lesser opposition on penalties in earlier rounds. And he could get a favourable win to the final and get a favourable opponent in the final and go on and cheese it that way. It could potentially happen. And to be fair, again, it would be great for the country and it would be great to see. But in saying that, it's not sustainable long term. We may have got away with it in one tournament, and you can get away with it in a tournament. We've seen some weird winners of the European Championships in previous years. 2016 saw Portugal win it when I don't think many people gave them much of a chance. In 2004, we saw Greece win it. There have been some weird and unique and outside winners of this kind of tournament. It's happened before. It could potentially happen with England. He could potentially cheese it in that sense. But it's not sustainable for the country going forward. You see across this international break as well, he picks the likes of Jordan Henderson and Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips can't even get a game or even a matter of mere minutes for his current club of Manchester City. Jordan Henderson is playing in the Saudi Arabian League. He's done. He's past it. But yet still picks them because they're tried and tested. What do the likes of James Ward-Prowse have to do to get into this in this England side? These two games especially were dead rubbers. England had already qualified for the European Championships. This was just playing out the formality of the remaining two international games of that particular group stage tournament to qualify. And yet he still doesn't experiment. He still doesn't pick some of the outside players. He still doesn't give these players a chance to perform on an international stage. He still doesn't change his tactics to be more attacking, to be more adventurous, to be more exciting. Instead, we were subject to a week of Southgate ball, which was dull, boring, and just so insanely dull. Like, it was basically switch off and turn on something else kind of time. That's how bad that it was overall. And like I say, I just think it's time we consider Southgate's position, and he shouldn't be one taking us to the Euros in 2024. I've watched it. I've felt like a bit of an outsider following this England side since 2018. Felt like more of an outsider. I don't really care for international football as it is. My preference would be club football any day of the week. But obviously, being from England, it obviously means I got to take some sort of note of the England side, and I've got to obviously keep tabs on it. And I keep tabs on it mainly for the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and any other Liverpool player that obviously makes it into the England squad. But just seeing the same mistakes constantly happen with Southgate, not just in terms of player selection as well, or not being adventurous with tactics or anything, but tactics within game as well. Croatia, you had them in the palm of your hand and you didn't adapt to the way that Croatia changed things up in the second half. And that's what led them back into the game. That's what ultimately cost England in 2018. You then made the same mistake again with Italy. You went 1-0 up again against Italy in the final of the Euros, And rather than change things up, you allowed them back into the game, and you only changed things up when Italy went ahead of that game. And then again, you did it with France as well. You let them back into the game when they were there for the taking. France weren't exactly playing the best of football. They weren't exactly on top of their game at that time. But yet, you allowed them back into the game, and France had that quality to put England away on that day. Not learning from their mistakes has symbolised to me time and time again that Southgate has taken this side and this team overall as far as he can go. And it is time to move on, because there will be no progression, there will be no advancement, and ultimately there will be no success for this England side that on paper should be challenging and probably are capable of winning international success with a better manager in charge, with a better brains behind the operation. I think it is time for Southgate to go. As far as who replaces him, look, I think, I've said time and time again, I think Graham Potter will be a good fit. I think Graham Potter, for this young England side that has got a lot of attacking prowess, might be a good fit. I'm sure you'll be able to name maybe a few other managers that may be a good fit, that may be of a good or even better choice than mine. But for me, Graham Potter would be a very good fit in my opinion, and someone that I think should be worth considering. But ultimately, the overall be-all and end-all of this, Southgate needs to go. Thank you for what he's done. Thank you for rebuilding this England side. Thank you for breaking down walls, barriers, and bridging the gap between the fans and the players. But you should have gone a long time ago. You definitely should go now. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this whole Gareth Southgate and England situation? Should he be leading us into the Euros in Germany in the summer of 2024? Should he be gone? Should he be fired? And who should replace him? I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on this particular topic down below in the comment section, because I'm sure it'll make it interesting and great reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up, enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always ever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.